The BBC's Brexit coverage has been blasted by a Tory MP who issued a stark warning over the broadcaster's Remain-focused bias. On the second day of the Blue Collar Conservatism Conference, Esther McVey and Dehenna Davison discussed whether the BBC is too politicized. Ms. Davison said, "I think there's certainly an argument for that when you look at coverage over things like Brexit over the years. It certainly seems like there has been a bit of a tinge to it that has been far more Remain-focused and far more critical of Brexit as a project and idea than what actually reflects people out there in society. I think to some extent yes. Some of the cultural output from the BBC is really good. I love a bit of Downton Abbey. If you take that aside from the news coverage, I think the BBC is really valuable. But we certainly need to keep an eye on the direction the BBC is moving in." Ms. McVey responded, "I think you hit the nail on the head with the Brexit coverage. It was so out of kilter with what the country was saying. And when they looked at what the general election was going to be, it was so out of kilter with what went on. Maybe because it was so centralized just in London in its own little bubble. It's not speaking to people in the rest of the country. The BBC has always denied allegations of bias, and in its editorial guidelines the cooperation states it is impartial, seeking to reflect the views and experiences of our audiences." On the BBC position, a spokeswoman for the Department of Media said, "It is an open recruitment process and all public appointments are subject to a robust and fair selection criteria." All week Express.co.uk will bring you exclusive coverage of the Blue Collar Conservatism Conference 2020, an event founded by former Minister Esther McVey to listen to the views of grassroots voters in new Conservative seats across the UK. Express journalists will travel up and down the country with Ms. McVey's team to hear what real people think of the key issues affecting their lives. Of the event in association with the Daily Express, Ms. McVey said, "This is the start of doing the traditional party conferences in a very different way. It's a party political conference first. Traveling the country, reaching out and speaking to the public, and then getting cabinet ministers to reply.